Hi, Gomati. How are you?
Good, Carl. How are you?
Doing fine. I'm curious, have you been to bed in the last 2 days?
Yeah, I slept.
You're actually up at incredible hours of the night. So,
Just the work.
yeah. Well, you know,
How
try not
about
to.
you? Are you stationed in one place? Are you traveling?
That's true. No, I'm doing fine.
Okay,
Hi,
good.
Rakesh. How are you?
I think our
Hi, Carl.
guest has joined.
Carl is
What?
a man from many places. He's from many places. You never
Right.
know, you never know which part of the world he kind of, hey,
Where's he gonna be?
says.
Right now I'm in Florida, which is good. So,
Great.
Yeah, which is good. And the hurricane season has just started.
that's right.
Uh,
So,
all the
but you have
best.
Yeah, you have the same problem in North Carolina, but also in India too, don't you?
Um,
I,
India is nothing compared to what,
Yeah.
uh, I
Bangladesh.
mean, it's what is kind of witnessed here, I would say.
Ah,
And and especially the place that we live in, rather Gomati lives in, Bangalore
mm,
is a very, very, I would say, comfortable
Peaceful.
place.
Yeah.
It's
It's quite
very, very
peaceful.
peaceful and comfortable. And
right.
I see the same thing in Raleigh as well.
Hmm.
Raleigh is, by the time, it's like, by the time the storm comes to Raleigh or reaches Raleigh, it's all lost all its potency. It's just a
Delayed.
breeze.
Yeah. Well, there
No,
have
you
been
you
two.
lived here. You lived
Yeah.
here,
Right.
so
Oh,
you
yeah.
would
There's
know.
famous
Hi,
hurricanes. Yeah.
Bonaventure. Hi, Wally.
Morning. Sorry
Morning.
for having to run off yesterday in a hurry.
Hey,
Can you
Wally.
guys hear me?
Hey,
Yes,
Bonaventure.
hi,
hear me?
Bonaventure. Yes, we can hear you. Clear.
Yes,
Because
you have
yesterday I
audio.
was in trouble. It's
Yeah.
better now, Wally?
Yeah.
Okay, and we have our guest here, Ravindran sir. Hello, welcome.
He's here. Oh.
Yeah, I think he joined us, but he's muted
Oh,
himself
he said,
and
yeah,
the video is off.
okay, good. So, welcome. So Gomati, you want to test out the PowerPoint deck on here?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's me. Because we'll want to turn that off when past President Ravi speaks.
Can you see my screen?
I can, yeah. Although
Okay.
you're not in presentation mode.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just wanted to see if it's working.
Yeah, looks like it is.
Perfect.
Good. Okay. You go ahead and take it off then.
Okay. Should we just leave it at this?
You
Or should we?
sure you can. You want to put it at the opening slide though.
Yeah, we are in the opening slide. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
One of my
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Wally.
Yeah, because
No,
what
there
I'm
should be another slide. This is not the opening slide. There should be another slide. So
now what I'm seeing is it's the income statement slide.
Yeah.
like
Right.
the welcome slide.
Yeah. Go up to the welcome slide.
Well, maybe we're one down. Yeah, that looks like slide number 3.
Yeah, this is the third slide.
Yeah.
That's very strange because
No, this is the seventh slide. I mean, the sixth slide.
This
This
is
is
what
the
I
sixth
have.
slide.
The
No,
sixth
Yeah.
slide, is it?
This is the
Yeah,
sixth
you're on-
slide.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
Oh,
maybe
yeah, you're right.
page up to slide 1.
Sure.
Gomati, you will have to unshare and share again.
Yeah.
So is it a hot day in Raleigh today?
Oh, yes, it is. but it's not so hot as it used to be last week.
Oh,
It's
okay.
cooling down now. It's
Right.
cooling down.
But I see you're wearing a sweatshirt though, so that's
Yeah,
why.
that's my usual attire these days. I
He's
blast the AC.
always.
Mhm.
I
Rakesh, how about
keep
now?
the yeah, it's
There we go.
perfect.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay,
Perfect.
perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. All right, we'll leave that as is. So,
When I started my corporation, Rakesh, the
Hmm.
first rule in the rule book was if you showed up with a tie, you were fired.
That makes it convenient for you too. So you're not obligated to dress up like a CEO.
No. You had
That
a
is smart of
very crisp golf polo shirt with the company logo on it. That was the dress code.
Good. Good.
Mhm.
Okay.
If
It's
you had
more
a
like
tie on, you're gone. Like, no.
Hi,
I
Nick. Good morning.
yeah.
Can't hear
Well, I
you
guess
very
I'm
well.
all set because I've got on a polo shirt and I've got the company logo here.
There you
Okay.
You're compliant.
Actually, two company logos. I've got my N polio now on.
Okay.
Perfect.
I don't see Nick. Where's Nick?
Nick is there.
Yeah,
I'm right here.
Hi, Nick.
Yeah.
Hello,
Very good
Rakesh.
morning.
Good morning.
The waves have just settled.
Did I have to go put on a tie?
No.
you may if you want, but you may be the only tie.
Well, I had a customer who used to make you check your ties at the secretary's desk.
That's a
Oh,
good
yeah.
idea.
Yeah, that works. Always put it in your pocket too. So. Six. So how about you, Wally? Is it a warm day out there or
It's gorgeous.
great?
And in 8 weeks, it'll be 40 below.
Right. Right. Yeah. Sonny, how are you today? Welcome.
Yeah. Good afternoon from here. I know it's morning there.
Yes. So you in Bamako?
No, I'm in Abidjan in Ivory Coast.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Our
hi,
district is
Sunny.
10 countries, so I'm here for some club handover conferences.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Aren't you the DRFC now?
Yes, for this year and the next 2 years.
Right. That's what I thought. So remind me the countries that your district covers. It's Mali and
There are 10. There are 10. There are 10 countries. And we
Wow.
have two Portuguese, Cape Verdes and Guinea-Bissau.
Mm-hmm.
We have 3 English countries, the Gambia, Sierra Leone, and Liberia.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have 5 French countries, Mali, Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast, Guinea, and Senegal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that makes all 10 countries in one simple district.
That's a
Yeah.
big, complicated district.
Very, very complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where does Equatorial Guinea
Oh, that's
join
in
in on all that?
that's in Central Africa.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's near to Cameroon, near to Cameroon and the Congos.
Right.
I was surprised because it's the only Spanish-speaking country in all of Africa. No.
Yeah.
I think there are about 2. There are about 2. There's
Yeah, two. Yes.
one in Sao Tome or Sao Tome and Principe.
Hmm.
There's
Well, that's Portuguese.
there's Sao Tome and Principe also.
Well, I thought they spoke Portuguese.
Yeah, that and the island of Comoros Island. I don't know what they speak, maybe Portuguese or Spanish.
Ah.
There are two in the Pacific or something. I don't know what.
I think we speak Portuguese.
Hi, Carl.
Portuguese.
Hello. How are you today?
Very good, very good.
Very good.
I
Glad-
had
Glad to have you. Are you
I
all
switched
ready
this
for your
on some
trip?
time ago and went out. Just came back. I thought so. Yeah, we still got a minute to start, right?
Yes,
How
have
you
a
guys doing?
couple minutes to go. Starting
Sorry.
to join us.
I thought you would be at the convention, Carl.
Oh, I'm sorry, which convention?
Well, when you switch on CNN and BBC, you have only one convention going on.
Oh, that convention.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. So, no,
RNS.
so. Oh, we've got people in the waiting room here.
Yeah, I've admitted them.
So, yeah, folks starting to come in here. So are you all ready for your trip to London?
We're talking to me? Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Ready to go.
good. That's very good.
Any Canadians here?
Yes.
Only one.
Jim Lurid.
All
Wally.
right.
Here too.
So next year is going to be fun with the Calgary convention coming up.
Yeah, we're already starting to organize for it. So,
Were you there for the last convention in Calgary?
no, I joined Rotary just after that.
Okay. That was good.
Mhm.
I think it's going to be an amazing convention. There's a brand new convention center put together, and if you're coming, come for a couple extra days because there's a whole bunch of World Heritage UNESCO type sites you can visit here. Everything with buffalo jumps and dinosaurs and our Peace Park. We have an international Peace Park just south of here.
Great.
Good to see.
Well,
Nice to see Rudy Westervelt here.
Great.
Great to see everyone here and
Hello.
past President Ravi. So long time no see.
How are you doing, Rudy?
We're doing fine. Hopefully you are as well.
I thought you were only involved in the peace stuff.
Oh no, this is important stuff here. Economic development leads us to peace. So
Good.
Absolutely. Well, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. And Gomati, if you can go ahead and mute everyone for now.
Yes.
So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. I am past District Governor Carl Treelevin from the Rotary Club of St. Petersburg, Florida, USA. And I am pleased and privileged to serve as chair of RAGCED for the current year and also the past year. And I'd like to call our annual meeting to order at this point. So, Gomati, if you could advance the slide. So briefly, before we get into things, I just want to make sure everyone knows what RAGCED is, what we're about. And basically, we are a worldwide network of Rotarians and Rotaractors who are focused on community economic development, which is one of the Rotary Foundation's 7 areas of focus. And our mission is nothing other than to alleviate poverty by investing in individuals, businesses, and their communities. Next. Now, we are best known as focusing on microfinance, and in fact, we got started with it, but it's important to know that microfinance is merely one of many different things that RAGCED is involved with. There's so many different dimensions to economic development. And I've listed the ones here that RAGCED is currently working on. And these range from agricultural development to business incubation, business coaching, disaster preparation, environmental improvement, impact investing, of course, microfinance, scholarships, savings, and vocational training. And of course, one other thing, which is our role in providing assistance to other RAGs, because so much of the other work of Rotary actually involves the dimension of economic development. And we believe we can really help out the other RAGs and all of Rotary and the Rotary Foundation by working with them on that. Next. So here's our agenda today. We'll begin with a report from our treasurer, Jim Ludit, and then to thank those of our directors who are going to be rotating off, then welcoming our officers and new directors. We'll then have a report from Bonaventure Fundahan on the Rotary Foundation, a report from our technical officer, Neelam Beatty. Then we have a very special treat. Go ahead and advance it. A presentation by past RI President Ravi Ravindran. And finally, we'll do some reports on some of the different committees of RAGCED, including a report on our convention that was recently completed, a report on education, a report from our partnerships committee, a report on RAGCED's sister foundation, and finally talk about priorities for this Rotary year. We'll then adjourn in an hour and a half from now. Next. So let's begin, and I turn it to past District Governor Jim Ludit from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, our treasurer, to give you a report on our finances. Jim?
Thank you, Carl. Hello, everybody. It's great to see past RI President Ravi in attendance today, so I'm looking forward to your comments as well. So what I'm going to provide is our income statement for our full year, our full Rotary year 23-24. Starting with revenues, we had membership revenues of $4,635. These are all in US dollars. That consisted of 117 memberships, and our memberships cover 1 year, 5 year, and a special subsidized rate for Rotaractors of $10 a year. We were fortunate enough to pick up some donations of $102 over the year to bring our total revenue to $4,737. On the expense side, the first one is the Singapore Convention, and that's all about printing and promo materials that we use at our House of Friendship, our breakout session in Singapore. You'll hear more about that from Peter when we go further. So the Singapore expenses were $1,133. You see next computer expenses. If you recall, some of you recall, we went to Member Nova, which is a sub of Club Runner, to upgrade our website about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago now. And we have an annual charge of $2,000 a year that we pay Member Nova to maintain our website, and that's covered under computer expenses. When we're processing membership fees online, we use a payment gateway called Stripe, and there's processing fees of $218 over the course of the year, bringing our total expenses to $3,558. And on the positive side, we're now going into 24-25 with a small profit of $1,179. That's somewhat similar to what we had in prior years, but a little higher this year because we've been able to downsize some of our expenses for the conventions. We're not printing as much paper as we used to. We just have some sample printing, and everything else is used. A QR code is used to so people can walk away with all the information without carrying paper. So that's the end of the financial report for 23-24.
Very good. Jim, thank you very much. Previous one, please. So several of our directors will be departing us, at least they'll be departing the board of directors. We certainly hope they'll continue as members of RAGCED. And I want to recognize each of them now. First of all, we have Ershad Ahmed from Bangladesh, who's been involved serving as our chair of membership. And then Guillaume Bourgon from France, Khalid Hassan from Canada, Ulhas Kolhatkar from India, Kudzai Nyingarai from Zimbabwe, and Michael Perry from the United Kingdom. So thank you very much for each one of them. I'm not sure who, if any of them are on the call this morning, but if you are, thank you very much. And we appreciate the work you've done. And we look forward to working with you in the future in other capacities as part of RAGCED. Next. So we have, at this point, I want to turn it over to Margaret Williamson to give a report from our nominations committee about our new directors and our officers. So Margaret.
Thank you, President Carl. And good day to everyone present. So happy you can join us this morning, this day. I'd like to start by just introducing the members of the Governance Nomination Subcommittee of the Administration Committee. And those persons are Nesca Atendi, she's a cadre and technical officer. Myra Ford of Rotary Club of Detroit, who served as our secretary, and our current secretary, Gomathi T.M., and Rakesh Babuji, who also is serving as the chair of the committee. So those are the people who are members of the administration committee. So I'll start by just speaking about our re-elected board members to serve a term 2024 to 26, and that is Christina and Biswaja. See them listed, and we appreciate their service and their willingness to continue to serve. Next slide, please. We have new members joining our board, and one is past District Governor Sonny. And he is, we selected our new board members because we feel that their experience in implementing and planning projects has that expertise to be shared with others who are developing projects. So each of our new board members are currently involved, have been involved in projects, community economic development projects. And I'm going to give each of our new board members at least a minute to just share briefly some of what they're involved with. So our first new board member is past District Governor Sonny. Sonny, would you be willing to just share briefly what you have been or are currently involved in terms of project? And welcome to the board.
Yeah. Okay, thanks very much, Margaret. Greetings to all of you, PDG Carl and PRIVP, PRI President Ravi, Ravindran here, present all of you. I'm so glad to be with you. And sharing experiences about MED are so exciting. There are two key projects that enter my mind all the time, and in two different countries of our district, our multinational district of 10 countries. We have a market gardening project that we have been following for some few years now in Guinea-Bissau. This project employs 300 women that work in the capital city from 5 a.m. in the morning till 6 p.m. in the evening, providing livelihood for their families. And you know what it impacts. One African family is about 4 to 8 people, and 300 women, providing for those families are so great. Not just their families, they employ street boys and street girls who used to loiter into petty crime, in the capital city. They now employ them. They do not no longer loiter on the streets, but they work and they gain their successful livelihood from these women. They also have school children, girls and boys who come to work, you know, in the farms too, to be able to buy their school materials. You know, that is very exciting experience that we support in Guinea-Bissau. You know, it's a country that has only one Rotary Club of 18 people. And they've done a very great job, and we keep supporting them. The club has grown since 2022, and they now have a Rotary Club, and we're able to participate first time on Ryla with over 100 young people. So this project has made the Rotary to grow so much in Guinea-Bissau. The second one is in my country, Mali. That is about 50 women that were trained to produce soap to sell and go on enterprise on soap production. And there were excess money that was left from the foundation grant we received. And so we thought of helping handicapped women too to produce small food products. This has grown so much. These handicapped women no longer come to ask us for money every trimester. For over 2 years, we don't see them anymore coming to ask us for monies. They can take care of themselves and their families, and they have participated in expositions on food production. So we are so proud to share with you these two projects. Thank you very much for these few minutes.
Thank you so much for sharing in just wonderful work. Next, we have our past District Governor, Xavier. And please, past District Governor, if you would be willing to share a project or what you're currently involved in that you would like us to know about. And welcome to our board.
Thank you so much, Margaret. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where we are. To Chair Carl, and nice to see you, President Ravi, and all your friends. I've been involved in a couple of projects. One as my work experience with the World Bank, and you said it has been in development work and mainly working with small groups, women groups, and so on, in terms of enhancing development and empowering them from the ground. But also as from the Rotary angle, my club is spearheading a big project in the eastern part of Uganda, which is about empowering widowed women groups. It's one area where there are many widowed women, and we work with them, enhance their capacity in terms of production, agricultural initiatives, and we link them to the markets, and so that they can be self-sustaining. We have currently 25 women groups, totaling around 125 of women within those 25 women groups. And we've seen a tremendous change in what they're doing. And we are now replicating that to other parts of the country. And we believe, we've seen that there's a lot of value in working and supporting, especially the women, and working in groups, because they help to uplift each other, they support each other, and collectively, they uplift the community. So lots of experiences in that, and I hope, and currently I'm serving as the district foundation chair, so lots of support from different angles, and I hope that will come as an experience in RAGCED, but also to pick interest from here that I can be able to share with my colleagues in different clubs. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing. And next slide, please. Our next new board member, Rakesh Babuji. Rakesh, would you share a project that you would like us to know about that you're currently involved with or have been?
Certainly. Thank you, Margaret.
Thank
Hello,
you.
everybody. And well, along with being with RAGCED, I'm also a chair for the IT fellowship, the Rotary IT fellowship. So the projects that I speak about would be projects that we do together. So that is the IT professionals Fellowship and RAGCED. So the things that have fascinated me or rather lately have been one project that is happening in Colombia, where children at a very young age are drawn towards crime. So there is a Rotary Club there that's kind of working hard with children, trying to divert their minds and teach them technology and make them feel that there is something beyond what they can think of, and opening up their minds and pushing them into universities for further studies. So that has really fascinated me. In fact, after a very first webinar, there were people who reached out to us and asked us to work with them. So we're kind of formulating things and setting up new practices there. So that's one. And the other one is in Nigeria, where women have reached out to us to learn more about computers so that they could channel their expertise into, you know, the digital world and kind of promote things. A similar thing is happening in Bangladesh as well. There have been Rotary clubs from there who have reached out to us. And there's another one in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where a president has reached out to us from a club and asked us to help them set up a computer lab so that they can have children learn about computers from a very early age. And then after that, we've also been working with tribals in South India and also in the eastern part of India, where in fact last time I visited about 6 different tribal settlements and realized that no matter what improvement has happened in India, there are pockets in India which have really been neglected. And these are areas which need to be just not visited once, but revisited again and again for not only education, but also for vocational training for women entrepreneurs. And we are also working very closely with women entrepreneurs in urban, rural, and tribal areas and other parts of India, where we kind of drawing them out and having them show their skills, upskilling them with computer knowledge, and compete with other entrepreneurs in the world right now. So these are a few things that we are working on. Thank you very much, Margaret.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you, Rakesh. And next slide, please. A new board member, Reverend Dr. Adrian Booth Johnson from Detroit. And Adrian, could you share with us a project or projects you're currently involved with or have been involved with? And welcome to the board. Adrian, I'm not sure if she's okay. Well, I don't
Margaret,
see.
maybe you could share something since she's not
Oh,
here.
yeah, I'll just share. Yeah, okay, all right. 'Cause I expected her to be here. Okay, Adrian is a Detroit Rotarian, and she's served as a marketing executive for Coca-Cola Company, and she's currently involved in projects in West African villages. And it's an empowerment program supporting and developing women entrepreneurs. And so those are the highlights of it, but her background and her current activity in community economic development can add to our board and provide additional technical support with others who may be interested in doing a project similar to her project. Okay, next slide. We have a listing of our officers for 2024-25. Carl, Wally, myself, Gomati, Jim, and Neil had. And each brings, we so appreciate them continuing and being willing to be volunteers and be so actively involved in everything we do. So that's a list of our officers, 2024-25. And the next slide with a listing of directors who also will be continuing for 2024-25. And we'd like to thank them as well. Fabio, Roberto, Carl, myself, and Leland. And with that, it concludes my report. And thank you for your attention.
Margaret, thank you very much. And also thank you to all the other members of the nominations committee because of the work you did. I think you've selected a fine group for us. Looking forward to working with them. So our next segment is a report from Bonaventure Fanduhan. Bonaventure is the area focus manager at the foundation covering community economic development. Bonaventure?
Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you, Chair Carl. My name is Bonaventure, as said by the chairman. And I just want to give a brief presentation of our global grant situation before we have more official numbers. I don't know you guys.
Come with you could advance it.
Our global grant program saw a significant growth in 2020. Increase from 1,041 grants, all grants, include all area of focus. We increased from 1,041 grants last year to 1,285 grants this year. And this making a robust 3% increase. And this expansion demonstrates our growing impact and commitment to support initiatives. Let's go to the next slide. Yes, when it's coming to community economic development, last year we approved only.
Oh, we're unable to hear you very well.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
No.
We're not able to hear you.
Yeah, can you take off your or just
We
use,
do. Yeah.
yeah, that's probably better.
You guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, better.
Okay, sorry about that. And last year we have made this year because we have moved from 129 grants for community economic development to 154, which is an increase of 19%. And that reflects our expanded effort to support local economy and foster community development. Let's go to the next slide. We also look at the investment for all global grants. And last year, the Rotary Foundation awarded $65 million global grant worldwide for all area of focus. But this year, we are around $80, which show an increase of 24% growth. And that 16 million reflect funding actively deployed to support a range of impactful projects worldwide. Let's go to the next slide. So our investment in community economic development has increased too. In 2023, we allocated close to $7 million to community economic development. But this year, we grew to 8.6 million, which is an increase of 23%. In conclusion, we have seen a consistent growth across all areas of focus when it comes to numbers and also to investment. that make clear that the Rotary Foundation is working hard to support impactful projects, not only at a global level, but also at the community. Thank you so much.
Bonaventure, thank you very much. Let's then move on and I want to introduce Neelam Beatty, who is our Chief Technical Officer and heads up our cadres. So Neelam.
Thank you, and welcome everyone. And could I have the next slide, please? Before we talk about, what the cadre highlights were, I want to make sure that some of you know what the cadre is. And the Rotary Foundation has more than 500 so-called experts, because these are people with expertise, can be technical subject matter in all areas, 7 areas of focus and sub areas of those. And then other aspects like auditing, financial, monitoring and evaluation. And so these cadre are helpful not only in evaluating the global grants, but also in helping develop sound and effective global grants. Because the hallmark of a good project is something that has been conceived well, has gone through proper community assessment and other aspects. And this is where Rotary takes great pride in having sustainable projects. So these individuals help clubs and districts in this area. Now, why are we talking about that in RAGCED, which is an area, it's an action group, but RAGCED is also very mindful of the expertise. Now, almost 160 of Rotary Foundation cadre have been identified as folks who have expertise in community economic development. Now, for last year, the leadership within the community economic development area was, myself, Wally Gardner, and Nesta from Zimbabwe. Now, the assignments, when you look through the record, and as I took on the task, we were curious of how the cadre are being utilized. And there were roughly, I noted no more than 24 assignments formally, but that doesn't really speak to how active the cadre are informally in helping clubs. So both the TRF and RAGCED are promoting the use of cadre, and we are working to see how we can increase the effectiveness of the projects. Could I have the next slide, please? Now, in doing that, I think the cadre in Evanston, they all really want to see what what the plan is for the upcoming years. So last year, the themes were around 3 main themes: communication, collaboration, and advising. The communication part is important because not everyone in Rotary understands or has an awareness of who the cadre are. So that's something which really falls upon everyone's shoulders to say, well, here is a resource with expertise. How can we utilize that? And then collaboration, again, how do we engage different clubs and districts and cadre, encouraging that? So these are sort of some of the generic thing, and I think just wanted to make sure what the role of the cadre is. Now, this is a work in progress, and every passing month, there is a discussion of cadre, and then within RAGCED, we are working quite hard to make aware of the project sponsors that, we have this resource. Could I have the next slide, please? Now, last year, we wanted to really take stock of where things stood with respect to how the cadre felt, whether they were being utilized, and again, what their suggestions were, so that we can increase both the the effectiveness of projects and make sure that we do use this resource to the fullest. And so these insights, we did a survey, and which was quite helpful in pointing out areas, and the cadre themselves pointed out some ongoing learning needs. So this will be used in developing our next year's plan and also in terms of doing our programming. Could I have the next slide, please? And the couple of ways that the cadre are involved within RAGCED, for example, are that we are trying to make sure whenever there is a project or a suggestion, we will work with our regional members and utilize both the databases from the Rotary Foundation and our own RAGCED member data, which incidentally cadre are encouraged to join in. For example, although only 60 or so of the cadre that are allocated to CED are formally within RAGCED are from the cadre community economic development area, but we find that cadre from other areas of focus all are members of RAGCED as well, and which is a great thing, because what happens is projects are not always neatly belong in one area of focus. So this is where collaboration comes in. And our cadre members have played a great role in project fairs, which really become the showcase and the incubators for new projects. And so if the cadre are involved at the ground level, the chances are any of the global grants written will be very robust. And so I've given a few examples of that. But with that, I think I will wrap this up. And so we will continue to work on that. And then for the membership, if there's any project that you think we should have this further help or scrutiny, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you.
Neelam, thank you very much for your report. Yes, the cadres are very important to the work that we're doing, both within RAGCED as well as the Rotary Foundation overall. So at this time, I'd like to introduce our feature speaker today, and he is K.R. Ravi Ravindran, a past RI president from 2015-16. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He's been a Rotarian since 1974, and he and his wife have been married, it looks like 1 year short of 50 years. So next year, I think, will be a very special occasion for you. Ravi and his wife, Vanity, have 2 adult children and some grandchildren. Professionally, he started a printing firm called Print Care, which focuses on package printing for the tea industry. And he's a major player in that industry with locations in Sri Lanka, but also in Africa and possibly some other places beyond that. He's been very actively involved in Rotary since the 70s. As I said, he was the president of Rotary in 2015 and 16. His theme at that year was "Be a Gift to the World." One of the things of interest, you may recall the tsunami, which devastated much of Asia in 2005, 2006. It particularly devastated parts of Sri Lanka, and he headed an effort called Project Reawakening, which was to help rebuild 25 tsunami devastated schools. A whole bunch more things. Let me stop and turn it over to past RI President Ravi Ravindran. Welcome.
Could you please unmute yourself?
There we are.
Am I unmuted now?
Perfect,
Yeah.
yes.
Very good.
Right. Just give me a minute. Am I coming across clear?
Yes.
Yes.
My screen has gone off.
Would you like to share your screen?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
So, when Carl asked me to speak, I was wondering, what do I speak on a subject I'm not very familiar with, at least as far as Rotary is concerned. And I seem to be speaking to some experts. I mean, I love that last presentation on the cadre. There's no question that this group is one of the most important amongst all our ranks. You have certainly a driven and committed leader in Carl Treleaven. The more I get to know him, the more I admire him. In fact, I'm here because of his persuasive skills, and I need to leave in half an hour for my flight to London. Carl, you got to make sure I get out. At the outset, I must tell you that I'm impressed with your business-like approach. I went through some of the documents that concern you. You have definite membership goals. You're making it an approved public charity. You're given a deadline on which to do this. You have a clearly stated mission. It's demarcated into 3 segments and so on. You have a well-drafted strategic plan, and it all augurs well. In fact, it was very refreshing to learn of all your activities. It occurred to me, of course, as I said earlier, with a little regret, that I have never been involved in economic development in all my Rotary actions. How does one then address experts on a subject that it doesn't seem to be fully equipped to speak, at least as far as Rotary is concerned? Now, my focus has rather always been on humanitarian projects. Now, having said that, I must say I have some experience in this, although it is not with Rotary, because I serve on another trust, and I will talk about it in a few moments. But first, be sure that there is no denying that community and economic development are essential for improving quality of life. Ideally, focusing on this segment of the economy, I suppose, would ensure sustainable growth, which comes through supporting local businesses, modernizing infrastructure, and promoting environmental sustainability. As of the most recent data, approximately 55% of the world's population lives in rural areas. Now, of course, this percentage can vary significantly from where Carl lives and where I live, with some countries having a much higher rural population percentage than others. Thus, I would say it's natural, at least in our part of the world, that many projects focus on rural development, emphasizing improving economic opportunities for these people, and so on. Now, these activities include, let me emphasize that these activities, at least in our part of the world, include promoting agriculture, supporting small businesses, and providing access to markets and microfinance services, of course, in such rural populations. Now, I was visiting a Rotary Club in Frankfurt, Germany, when I listened to the president of the Africa Development Bank. Rotary Club of Frankfurt is so fussy about their membership intake. In fact, the president was a former member of the cabinet. And the lady next to me said, you know, he's proposed to a club, but we want to see how he performs today before we take him in. That's how fussy they are. Now, his remarks, though, stayed with me for a long time. He said that the low productivity of agriculture, the poor state of rural infrastructure, especially the construction of rural roads, the provision of water, electricity, and sanitation, coupled with digital exclusion and weak access to financial markets, makes the quality of life in these rural areas rather meager. Unfortunately, not much has changed over time. Nearly, the last time I'm looking at some notes, 1.4 billion people live on less than $1.25 a day. I mean, that's extreme poverty. Things did improve around the world. The statistics did get better. Unfortunately, after several decades of continuous global poverty reduction, a period of, I would say, significant crisis and shocks with COVID and stuff like that, resulted in 3 years of lost progress between 2020 and 2022, according to World Bank. Economic opportunities shrank, leading to an intergenerational transfer of poverty, means moving from one generation to another. As a result, rural youths were discouraged, they were disempowered, and they were made defenseless in many places. Now, tellingly, it is this fragility of rural youths that makes them vulnerable and makes them a fertile recruitment ground for terrorists and such activists. Think about that. From Rotary's point of view, this segment is one of our important focus areas. I mean, you just heard from Bonaventure on the formal side, although I don't know whether there's a problem with my computer, I could not quite listen to him speaking fluently. As I said earlier, I must confess that I have not been involved in these projects at the Rotary level. However, I do serve on another trust. It's called the MJF Charitable Foundation, which was set up by a very dear friend of mine, and his name was Merrill J. Fernando. That's why it's called MJF. Merrill Fernando, in fact, rose to fame as the creator of the famous Dilmah tea brand, which some of you may have heard of. Dilmah tea, I would top 3 in the world, I think. Merrill passed away last year. In fact, today was his first death anniversary, and I just came from that event. I must say what struck me at that meeting was no speaker, including the pastor, ever spoke about this business magnate, about this business empire, about the tycoon that he was. They only spoke about the number of people who benefited from his philanthropy. Now, and I think that was the right thing. I met Merrill when I was 24 years old, and I was looking for investors to start my company. I'd gone to many people and had not made any headway till I met this gentleman. He was exactly double my age at that time, but even then he was financially strong. So he trusted me and invested in my nascent company. He and I became very firm friends, notwithstanding our age differences. If any of you came for the Korea convention, you would have actually seen him on stage being introduced with my whole family. That's how close I was. Now, the MJ Foundation spends on an average about $3 million annually on various projects. It touches over 100,000 lives and directly impacts over 20,000. This type of work this trust does is quite awesome. Now, one of the areas of their expert is community and economic development. And I want to share a story, a couple of stories really, and the first one from our country's northern part. Now, the northern part of our country and the eastern part, and I'm going to restrict myself to those 2 areas, because for nearly 30 years, the north and east of my country was immersed in a major uprising and a literal war, a civil war. That was 10 years ago. But 2 years ago, I was there in the capital of the north, a place called Jaffna, celebrating the MJ Foundation's of a gift of a new women's wing to the base hospital there. There was also another ceremony of a gift of a classroom block to another Jesuit-run school. But when the ceremony ended, there were 3 ladies. Their names are Bhamini, Rajini, and Sarojini. You may not be able to pronounce it. Bhamini, Rajini, and Sarojini approached us. And they came up to me, and I was the only one who could speak the language there. The rest of my team couldn't. They said, do you recognize us? I couldn't, and we said, no. Then they related their story. Coincidentally, all 3 were mothers with 3 children each. And all of them were abused war widows, doing menial work for the fisher folk and suffering many indignities. and they were struggling to provide for their children. A few years ago, the children were involved in the MJ Foundation's after-school programs at their center in the north. That's how these ladies first began to meet people from our office, from the MJ Foundation office. The foundation supported these three ladies by providing them with the necessary utensils to start their own business of processing dried fish. Now, for those who may not know, dried fish, which includes salted, dried, fermented, and pickled fish, is very common throughout South and Southeast Asia. The foundation also brought in some doctors who educated these ladies on the merits of salted dried fish. Dried fish contains healthy fats, omega-3, and vitamin D. Now, they showed them how to bottle this and sell the processed fish at a higher value. So these ladies explained that today they operate their own dried fish business. They sell directly to consumers. The army camps in the region are their biggest customers. And they smiled and told us, you know, we have sent our children to school, we have built our own houses, and we have married the men whom we used to work for, who now work for us. I thought that was just fantastic. This is the typical of a small entrepreneur program that this foundation does. It supports and encourages entrepreneurs to build and continue successful businesses. The program has assisted in the establishment of over 2,000 entrepreneurs nationwide. Let me share with you another story or two. I want to tell you about a boy called Dinesh. Now, in the eastern part of the country, again, you know, civil war torn, which was, again, previously riddled by this separatist war, the foundation realized that many of the youths were unemployed. Of course, some of them would have been part of the rebels. We dare not talk about that. Giving them some other skills was important if we wish to rehabilitate them. So the foundation set up a World Chef certified culinary training facility at their center. They got this big MJF center where they do many things, which I won't go into now. One of them was this culinary school. Do you know, in the last 5 years, we have trained their young men and women who are now equipped to enter the hotel and tourism industry or even start their own enterprises. Now, we do not make a charge. Often, we have visiting celebrity chefs to spend a day or two sharing knowledge with the students. I want to tell you about one of the students there. His name was Dinesh. Dinesh grew up in poverty, but joined the school and successfully completed the 6 months course at this culinary school. During his internship, Dinesh had the opportunity to compete at the internationally renowned Bocuse d'Or competition. Now, for those who don't know, the Bocuse d'Or is a biennial World Chefs Championship, and it's named for the French chef Paul Bocuse. And the event takes place over 2 days near the end of January in Lyon, France, at a catering and food trade exhibition. It is one of the world's most prestigious cooking competitions. Now, Dinesh impressed the judges with his creativity. I mean, we gave him the airfare and so on, and presentation techniques. And he emerged as a gold medalist in the national competition and then moved on to the regional level competition where he was placed 8th. Today, Dinesh, who was he was like a scarecrow, I won't go into it. Today, Dinesh works as a chef at one of the posh island resorts in the Maldives, probably earning more than $3,000 a month. This school has 282 students so far, all well-employed or self-employed in various hotels in a now flourishing tourist industry in the country. I mean, during the COVID, it just went dead, and we got into a big financial mess. Now we are tuned. Now that needed an investment in that school. That's quite big. Now let me tell you about a girl called Madhi. And she was a 43-year-old mother. She had 4 children, and she was also living in the eastern region. She was introduced to our existing agricultural program in the East, which empowers communities through agricultural skills and knowledge. Now, as Madhi was already involved in agricultural pursuits in a rather, I would say, primitive way, we supported her with a 2-inch water pump in about 2023. With this, she could cultivate a ½ acre of land that she owns, and then she expanded her crops to groundnut, or you may call it peanut, and other vegetables. With the income generated from her cultivation, she leased a 3-acre piece of land a few kilometers away, which delighted us and which she planned to cultivate. The problem was the frequent elephant incursions into that area, into a field, which she couldn't handle. So we did something very, very special, I thought. We helped her by setting up a solar-powered electric fence around the land. We had to get permission and all that, and electric fence, which gives a mild electric shock when the elephants came. And now, in just a year, Madhi's business has grown from a struggling income of around $100 a month to a profit after costs of about $200. She also has 4 female employees who help with the cultivation. Her husband, too, now works for the land, on the land owned by her. Now, I can go on giving you a few more. In fact, I can give you hundreds of examples, but that won't do now. So in a way, this is indeed a unique foundation. And this foundation focuses really on nurturing individuals' ability to avoid dependence and build their capabilities, enabling them to do great things. It really focuses directly, efficiently, and effectively delivering transformational impact to less fortunate communities and differently abled children. I mean, they've got 3 schools in 3 parts of the country only dealing with differently abled children. And youth while empowering women, youth, and even men with dignity through free education, like the one I just told you about, and educational training. This foundation now consists of an administration staff of 7 and a project management staff of 130. So I have to say a little bit about my friend, the late Merrill Fernando, because he believed that business is a matter of human service and insisted that 15% of his company's profits go to this foundation. Now, he cajoled me also to giving a percentage, but I don't give 15%. As an aside, this foundation also works with Rotary. Just last year, they substantially contributed to us and partnered with us in our cervical cancer eradication project. Sri Lanka could well become the first country to be cervical cancer free. Now, it might interest you that very often I get involved in projects of a national level and I have to raise money. So when I get invited to speak at all these countries like yours, I say, okay, my fees is $10,000 DDF from your district to one of these projects you pick. And I'll tell you, that's a good way of raising money. So now they had previously invested also heavily in us when we upgraded our country's principal lab, that was a Rotary project, in a major COVID-related project. They also supported, Carl spoke about our 25 schools, not rebuilt, but newly built schools after the tsunami. And that cost us $12 million, and they made a sizable contribution to that. So in closing, let us remember that even the smallest investments and efforts can lead to monumental changes in the lives of individuals and communities. The stories I shared with you today testify to an individual's resilience and potential. They remind us that our collective efforts can make a profound difference, no matter how small they seem. As Rotarians, I would say we are uniquely positioned to drive this change. So let me encourage you to continue to what you are doing so well. Continue to invest in yours, in our communities. Continue to empower individuals and continue to foster an environment where everyone can thrive. Of course, I'm always inspired by the words of my dear friend, the late Merrill Fernando. Business is a matter of human service. This guiding principle drives many of my own actions and decisions in my own business. So, Carl, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for your commitment, your passion, and your unwavering dedication to improving the world. As someone said, it's better to light a candle than curse the darkness. So together, however small it may seem, we can play our part in building a future for individuals who can live with dignity. So let's go forth and continue to make a difference, one small step at a time. Thank you.
Past President Ravi, thank you very much for your inspiring comments. Obviously, in your own personal example, that of your friend Mr. Fernando's work and his foundation. And clearly, this points a way forward for RAGCED and the rest of Rotary to hopefully make a very impactful change in many of these different communities. So thank you very much, and we wish you well as you travel now to London, and we'll look forward to seeing you again at a future time.
Thank you, Carl. Thanks a lot. Thank you, folks. It's been a great pleasure, a privilege to speak to a group like this. Take care. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So Gomati, if you could please put up our slides again. Now, let me take a moment. Our new director, Adrian Booth, has joined us now, and we're glad to have you here, and we welcome you to the RAGCED Board of Directors. So our next segment is, we want to talk about the convention in Singapore. So I want to turn it over now to past District Governor Peter Verbeck from the Rotary Club of Key Biscayne, Florida, in the Miami area in the USA. Peter may not turn his video on because he had some minor surgery yesterday, and I guess he may not look the best. But the more important thing are the words and the inspiration. Oh, you do have your video on. So Peter, let us turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Carl. And it's great to see everyone on the screen, and most of you I've seen in Singapore. And Ravi's presentation was quite inspiring and gave me a lot of, as an introduction, of remembrances of the work we've done over the years in different parts of the world, and how this particular RAG has such an incredible potential for so many things that we can do and that we have accomplished, but really be more effective. And he was bullseye right on this RAG and getting ourselves organized. I really look at it as a wheel in itself with many spokes that need to be put together for us to be very effective. And so Carl asked me to get involved, and also my dear friends Nick Frankel and Jim Lutet. It's a pleasure to be amongst you guys. And it was quite an experience of being in the booth and meeting, obviously, folks from all over the world, and just hearing how much economic development is going on in the world just from these folks, and knowing of other projects we're doing. And so one of those folks, membership, is such an essential part of being well organized for us to move forward and be effective in what we want to try to accomplish. And as the first slide had mentioned there, that we ended up signing up 51 people, that and then there was another group of folks that were renewing their membership, and some folks that just gave their name and interested perhaps in joining us. And so all these things need to be organized and put together, and how to build our whole membership in the organization. What kind of goals should we have in different areas, regular meetings, break it up into different parts of the world to be effective. And we've got a lot of extremely competent folks that are here, and we will get some of these things done. We were located, fortunately or unfortunately, a little bit too near the stage there, where there was a lot of noise, and hopefully next year we'll be in a quieter area and have more productivity. And we had volunteers that have signed up. I think we have some challenges in trying to get folks to really, when they commit, that they're going to be there to take their share. But that also gave me an opportunity to sit there for many, many hours and learn so much about the possibilities that we have to just do amazing things and things that already exist. We had as well, and hopefully many of you folks will be in Calgary as well, and get that going. That'll be a separate conversation of how to be even more effective in collecting funds at our booth. And but essentially the end result will be, I think, terrific. I had mentioned that I was quite lucky to be working with a major solar panel company in the United States, and wanting to give away a lot of these solar lights for the home, and mentioned to a few people if they could use a container load of them, work through a Rotary Club and show us that they're actually going to beneficiaries that need them. And I'm just throwing this out real quick here. So we do have a couple of folks that are wanting them, and so we're working on logistics and seeing what we can do there. But anyway, Carl, I could go on, but I'm just trying to keep this as a global picture and big picture, and I'm excited to see what we can do. We did have a gentleman by the name of Bernard Groff that was there. He has expressed very much interest in getting involved with with our membership group, and see what we can do to get other folks involved and to organize this whole side of it, so we can follow up questions and break them into different interests that folks might have in the same areas and put them together. That will happen. Thank you, Carl.
Nick, if you could share some additional comments about your experience with the Singapore Convention.
I'd love to. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. As Peter has already told you, it was the whole convention was a very positive experience for RAGCED. One of the things they did differently this year was they put organizations that had the same area of focus together. So we were effectively in an area of the House of Friendship that was all about community economic development. So we had an opportunity to begin to build partnerships with other organizations that we didn't know about who are in this particular area. Can you go to the next slide, Gomith? While we were there, in addition to the booth, we held a project fair where Rotarians from all over the world could bring their community economic development projects and share them with members, people with Rotarians who were attending the convention. I think one of the most important things, there are a couple of things that were very different and very important about this convention compared to the previous ones. And I think the first thing is, in Melbourne and in Houston, people came and asked us what community economic development was. This year, they came to us and said, we need help with our economic development projects. And between myself and Wally and Neelam and Carl and Jim, we've probably been in touch with 10 projects that we met last year while we were in Singapore. The other thing I want to talk about is the opportunity we have to support one of the largest community economic development projects that Rotary has been involved in outside of the programs of scale. This is a $780,000 US project where we're teamed with World Vision's Vision Fund. And I was really excited to hear PDG Xavier's discussion of what he's doing with Village Savings Group in his community, because this global grant is designed to support 540 with Village Savings Group in the Kampala area in Uganda. Our international partner is Kampala West. We're working very closely with them. This is a project that's supported by RAGCED, and of course it's supported by World Vision Fund. It's the first project that Rotary and Vision Fund have collaborated on in the community economic development area. So we're very excited about that. The grant is in the process of being prepared. We're doing some fundraising right now. And we featured this project both at our booth and at the World Vision booth. We were also given an opportunity through the work that Shab Elawar was doing to present a short presentation to a project fair he had developed. In addition to that, we had a 1-hour breakout on the program. So we got a lot of information about the program. We're now following up. We expect to have the global grant in place and working no later than the end of the year. Hopefully earlier. If you would like additional information, just drop an email to operations@ragced.org or go to our website and look at the results for the Singapore convention where we have a brochure. I look forward to working with many of you on this project in Uganda and other projects that you've asked us to help you with because we met you in Singapore. Thank you very much.
Nick, thank you very much. And also to Peter and others involved in putting on the RAGCED booth and the other events in Singapore. Very helpful to our effort. So one of the other areas that RAGCED is very involved with is education. And I'd like to turn it over now to fellow director Christina Kalmaguyan, who is the head of our education committee. Christina?
Hello, everyone. Greetings from Dubai. It's 7 p.m. here and it's 38 degrees. So it's very hot right now. Last night at 11 p.m., it's 40 degrees here in Dubai. So anyway, I would like to, here's the summary of the education report that we had for since 2023-2024. It's a total actually of 12 webinars and four partners project or co-hosted projects. So, and the total number of participants, by the way, thanks to Gomati and Rakesh, they are really the ones who facilitated most of these webinars, in my absence. So hopefully in the coming months, I will be discussing like proposed topics that we're gonna have soon. And the previous webinars, we had a series of microfinance and different topics. And I will be sending out first to Carl the proposed topics, which I also prepared, but maybe it will be better if everyone can see it and with the description of the topics. And I will be discussing this with Carl and the team, Gomati and Rakesh, if it's possible. So, so every month we did not miss. And in fact, there was an overlapping. That's why we stopped the others, because there was a time that in 1 month we had 2 or 3 webinars for RAGCED. So yeah, we had really a very, active participations in this part. So thank you, Rakesh and Gomati. Okay, so I'll be sending out the proposed topics. I'm not gonna discuss because there are like 10 topics that I propose. Especially, it's similar when we did the other webinars, we have the topics, and then we just need your input on those topics. Thank you. That's all I can say. Thank you, Carl.
Certainly welcome. And thank you, Christina, and your committee for the work you've been doing to help spread the message and provide greater education with respect to community economic development. So one of the other areas that we're doing to try and expand the reach of RAGCED is to establish partnerships. So we have a partnerships committee, and I'd now like to call upon Biswajit Ghosh from Calcutta in India to talk about what's been going on. Biswajit? I know he's been having some trouble with his access kind of going in and out, so he may be off. Let me share with it. So we've, in this past year.
Hi, Carl. Am I audible?
Hi, you are there.
Can
Okay,
you
go
hear me?
ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Hi, am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Yes, Biswajit, yes, please go ahead.
Okay. I'll just try before it goes off again. Build a good pipeline. We had two major MOUs signed up with the RAC for Menstrual Hygiene and RAC for Peace. And we got well connected in the Singapore Convention also. And a lot of future work is in the pipeline with these two RAGs. We also had a major MOU signing done in person by Carl in New Delhi with Nalanda Learning on early childhood education, a focus area of the new education policy of India. So these were three things that we could tie up last year. In the pipeline, we have some major projects in South India through organizations like Avni, People Trust, Rotary, Avoidable Blindness Foundation. Elsewhere, we are planning to have a major tie-up in Zimbabwe with the WHH or Wealth Hunger High Life, as it's more popularly known. And with Professor Yunus, Nobel Laureate in Bangladesh, we are trying to have a tie-up with the Grameen Trust. They are known globally for their work on microfinance and social business, and they're keen to collaborate with us on education and microfinance matters. So that's the update in terms of the pipeline that we already have built for the next 3 months. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Rajat, thank you very much. And also thank you to your fellow committee members. This is an important area for us. It will help us expand the reach of RAGCED. So now I'd like to turn us to talk about our affiliated charity. Just as Rotary International has the Rotary Foundation, which is a separate, but in effect a sister organization to Rotary International and helps us accomplish our work as Rotarians, RAGCED also has its own foundation. It's called the Economic Development and Empowerment Foundation. We don't talk a great deal about this, but let me share with you the kind of work we're trying to do with it. So over the past year, we have made an investment in a microfinance institution in a city called Hermosillo, which is in the northwest part of Mexico. And the idea here is we're trying to address the problem of sustainability within microfinance. One of the challenges of that is funding for it. And so what the approach is to treat the investment as a real investment, similar to a bank. And so what we have done is to invest money in, and we are being paid a return of 6% interest per year on the investment. We believe by doing that it could potentially increase the amount of funding available for microfinance institutions as opposed to treating it as a charity. So far, it's been very successful. One of the other things that we're doing in ED&E is to do projects that the Rotary Foundation either cannot do or does not by policy want to do. And in one case, what we're doing is we're doing a pilot project with a charity from Miami, Florida, USA, which does village savings in Uganda. And we're trying to prove out to see how well they can do. And hopefully, if this is successful, and we believe it will be successful, that they can then graduate to work with the Rotary Foundation. We also have done an impact investment with a fund that has invested in a number of different emerging businesses in East Africa, principally within Kenya and Rwanda and several other countries. And each one of these are businesses that are expanding significantly, but also have some type of a social purpose to them. As an example, one of their investments it focuses on hiring the deaf. A very significant part of the company are deaf employees. And they've demonstrated that deafness is not an impediment or a limitation in terms of being a good employee. They also have another investment where they're taking something called pyrethrum, which is for flowers, and turn that into a significant business. So it's, we believe, an excellent opportunity, a good example of impact investing. One last thing to share with you is the organization has been legally a private foundation, but over the past 4 years has been undergoing a conversion to be a public charity. And we expect to complete that process in June of 2025, in which case we'll be a full public charity, just like the Rotary Foundation is, which will offer us additional benefits. So many possibilities for this foundation going forward, focusing on the work that RAGCED does. So I'd like to finish off, and we'll talk about our priorities as the organization. And our executive committee has been talking about, what our key goals should be over the course of the 2024-25 Rotary year. And we've organized these into the 4 areas that the Rotary Action Plan is. The first one being to increase our impact. And you saw Bonaventure's presentation earlier about how the Rotary Foundation is increasing the number of global grants and also increasing the number of community economic development global grants, which is certainly good. We hope to continue increasing that. What we in RAGCED are trying to do is figure out ways that we can increase our exposure to various parts of Rotary, to district foundation committees around the world, to individual Rotary clubs and others. And our goal is to make sure they understand that we can be a real resource to help them do economic development grants. If we do that, we believe that will result in more CED global grants being done. So there's a key job here of trying to increase our exposure and visibility in the Rotary world. Second thing, of course, expanding our reach. And our goal is to grow our membership. We set a goal of increasing it at least by 75 dues-paying members this coming year. One of our other strategies we hope to pursue is the development of chapters. And the idea of a chapter is to bring RAGCED closer to the ground. We're, in a sense, we're an organization that's operating at a high level, but we lack physical presence in many places. And we think by having chapters that will help this. So we want to we're in the process of developing both English-speaking chapters, but also a goal this year of having some non-English speaking ones, particularly ones in Spanish, in French, and possibly some other languages. Gomati, if you could, thank you. Our third area, consistent with the Rotary Action Plan, is to enhance participant engagement. And we want to do this first by, as Christina was talking about, having more educational programming. Our goal is at least 9 webinars, and to get our members more active in chapters and on our committees. Finally, as in the Rotary Action Plan, increasing our ability to adapt. And we believe a key thing to help us accomplish that is to make sure that we operate at a profit consistently, that we expand the organization, we can then have greater impact and ability to adapt. All these things are important. We believe RAGCED is doing something extremely important out there, can benefit Rotarians, Rotaractors, Rotary clubs, and the Rotary Foundation in so many different ways. So this brings us to the end. Well, let me take a moment and stop and turn it over to our incoming president, Wally Gardner from High River, Alberta, Canada. We've asked Wally to be my replacement. Anyone here who's ever been a Rotary Club president, a district governor, or any number of other positions knows what's the most important thing? The person who will replace you. So I turn it over to the most important person to me, Wally.
There you go, Carl. First of all, I'd like to start out by saying you're absolutely irreplaceable, but we'll give it our best shot, and we'll be relying on your input in the coming couple of years as a vice and council and transition. As Carl said, this is probably the most important of all of the Rotary action groups that we have within Rotary. And it's fundamental to just about everything we do. When you look at peace initiatives, for example, if people have employment and a roof over their heads and their kids are going to school, that's a big step in getting people directed into profitable and dignified paths in their lives. And it's important to all of us as well in the rest of the world. So we've got lots to do this coming year. And we're starting out the year with a good organization. We'll be reviewing our strategic plan, seeing how we're doing that. And we'll also start looking at doing some measurement and evaluation on our organization. For that, we're putting together a pretty detailed organizational chart and trying to nail down exactly what each person is doing within that scope of field, so that somebody coming into the organization has a quicker grasp of just what it is we are doing and who's been doing it. So I'm looking forward to the coming year. Looking forward to working with all of the new board of directors, and welcome aboard to them as well. And not only are we going to get a lot of stuff done, but we're going to have some fun doing it and improving what we're doing immensely. So to work, everybody.
Wally, thank you
Spanish, al trabajar.
Okay. Look forward to working with you and everyone else going forward. Gomati, if you could put the last slide up now. We want to make sure, remind everyone of how you can contact us. We very much thank you for participating with us today. Here are the ways you can get a hold of us. Of course, our website, ragced.org, but we also have a nice social media presence, thanks in particular to Secretary and Webmaster Gomati, as well as Rakesh Babuji. We're out on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Share that with your friends. You can learn more about what we are doing. And finally, within 48 hours, there will be a recording available on YouTube of this program. So if anyone you know was unable to attend, or you think they ought to see this, encourage them to go take a look at this. One final reminder, our next board meeting, a meeting of the new board, which selected, will be held this time next week on the 24th. So we encourage participation, and you'll have links for that. So wherever you happen to be in the world, thank you very much for joining us today. We appreciate your service to RAGCED and to the Rotary Foundation and your Rotary Club. We really can make a difference in the world. Everyone have a good rest of the day. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Wally. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much, Carl.
Bye, Jim.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Margaret.
Bye.
Bye, Nick.
Bye, Nick. Bye-bye.
See you guys soon.
All
Bye.
right. Bye-bye.
Great.
Bye,
Everyone,
Rakesh.
thank you. Yeah. Rakesh, Tomothy, thank you very much.
Thank you, Carl. Have a good day. So I'll end
too.
the session. Okay.
Yeah, Michael. Peter, you look better than I thought you were going to what you described.
Well, it's not that good, really. If you take a good look.
Oh, yeah.
Look like I've been in a
much.
fight, you know.
Yeah, like
And then I must have won because I'm not completely bashed in.
That's right.
Any
Thank you.
two quick questions, Carl, if you don't mind, while you're on. I got
Sure.
two direct chats that came to me about the home solar panels. And where is Fiona Barreto? I was asking her where she is. She says the project and the panels would go to Tanzania, but who is she, this Fiona Barreto? Do you know?
No, I don't.
She was part of our group. She did leave me a phone number, but I don't know if it's an overseas number and an email. I'll contact that.
I'm sure. Yeah, you probably catch her on WhatsApp too.
Yeah. And the other requests came from Nilam.Bellick. So I've got his email and phone number is 416. So I think that's Toronto.
Neelam Betty.
That's Toronto, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll follow up with that.
Great.
Very good. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Rakesh, Tomothy, thanks very much. Great job.
Thank you, Carl.
Bye,
Bye.
Peter.
Have
Bye.
a great rest of the evening. Bye.
You have a good day. Bye, Carl.
Thank you. Bye-bye.